This is going to be one of the most rawest, transparent videos I have ever put out. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So as you can see by the title, I'm sure you probably have some ideas as to what this video may consist of. You guys, I have been in this place where I feel like I'm coming to a completion of some sort. I can't really help you understand what I'm saying unless I kind of take you back. Many of you know I have shared over the years that I was adopted at a very young age. I lived with my mother up until I was 5 years old, and I was taken from her, placed in a Catholic group home in DC, where I stayed for almost a year, and then I was adopted by a adoptive family where I lived with them for a little over 3 years. During the time of me living with my mother, I didn't recall conversations of God or Jesus or church. I didn't really know anything about anything spiritual. But when I moved to my adoptive family, they were a church-going family. The father was a pastor of his own church, so I was pretty quickly, just kind of thrown into the whole atmosphere of church and, just Bible study, vacation Bible study, Sunday school, choir, anything that pertained to church. I was now involved, and it was very foreign to me. And I went through a lot of hardships living in that home. And there were many times where I didn't understand why this was my life. Why couldn't I stay with my mom? Why did I have to be here? It seemed like abuse just kind of trickled down. And I felt alone. There were many times where I didn't want to live. And it was just so much about my life I just didn't understand. I didn't understand the purpose behind my life. I didn't understand why I had to be alive. And there were many times, even after my grandparents on my father's side adopted me, they came and got me and brought me to Tennessee, which is where I continue to be raised and brought up. I just went through so many things. And there were many times I would pray. I would literally pray and ask God to just let me die, because I didn't want to live. I didn't want to experience any more hurt and pain, because I didn't understand the point of it. And so fast forward, you know, here it is. I'm pregnant with my oldest son, scared to death because I didn't know what a mother looked like. I didn't know how to be a mother. And, you know, there was just so many things that was going on that I just could not understand about my life or the meaning of my life. And I just started praying. You know, I pretty much grew up in church, but I never had that desire to really want to make a connection with God. It just seemed like just something you do. Sunday rolls around, you go to church. You know, you sing in the choir. You know, I was just kind of playing the role, but it wasn't anything within me that just had a yearning to want to know who God was. And I found myself praying to God while I was pregnant with my oldest son at the age of 19. And I just remember just saying to him, I can't keep going through this. Like, something has got to change. And he put a desire in my heart to want to get to know him. And so I started to read the Bible. I started at Genesis and I read it all the way to Revelation. And I had pretty much read the whole Bible before I gave birth to my oldest son. So here it is. I have been feeding myself with the word. Now I'm a mother. I just gave birth to my son. And there was something within me that had a desire and an understanding to do what they did back in the Old Testament, to take your firstborn and raise them up to the heavens and dedicate that son back to God. And I did that. And at the time, I thought it was just pure desperation, you know, or I read this in the Old Testament, so why not give it a try? But I would later find out that there was a deeper meaning behind why I felt the need to do this. So fast forward, I have my son and I start to learn about this name Yahweh. I never heard of Yahweh. I've never heard anybody mention Yahweh. It seemed like just amazing revelation that was being revealed to me. And I found this church that worshiped Yahweh, and they worshiped all the biblical feasts that I read in the Old Testament, and they were apostles there and prophets, and it seemed like everything was coming towards me in a way that it excited me. It made me feel like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is something that I've been desiring, you know. This is real, because I've been reading about this in the Bible. And I packed my son up. Me and my son, we hopped on a Greyhound bus and we traveled to this place, and we lived, you know, in this place for, not at the church, but we had moved to another state, and we lived there for almost 1.5 years. And it was during that time frame where I had to learn the hard way that just because something may look to be true on the surface doesn't mean that it's always true. And I would later find out that this was a counterfeit. This wasn't the real thing. They utilized certain attributes, you know, that spoke to, you know, what you would read in the scriptures, but it wasn't truly of God. And that devastated me because all this time I've been on this quest and seeking for truth and wanting to understand who I am and what my purpose is. And I run into this situation. And I became very angry with God to the point where I stopped praying. I didn't pick up my Bible. I did not talk to him because I was so confused. I didn't understand why he would allow me to go through that. But later I would find out as he just kept nudging at me. He kept asking me the question, what were you asking me? What did you keep asking me? And it took me a long time to figure out what the answer was to the question. And it finally hit me one day. I finally responded back one day and I said, I was asking for truth. And then that's when he started talking to me. He said, because of who you are, because of who I've called you to be, I have to allow you to experience the counterfeit in order for you to see what is true, to understand what's true. And that was a very hard lesson to learn, but I appreciate it so much more looking back. I started attending this church, I want to say around 2006. And this was like an apostolic type of ministry. And the pastor was an apostle, his wife was a prophetess. And so, you know, I grew up going to different churches. I went to Baptist churches. I went to Methodist churches. You know, I went to non-denominational churches. Like, you know, I kind of had a variety of different churches. But this particular church started really teaching me the prophetic. And that's when I really started getting more insight into, you know, Jewish customs and Hebrew and, you know, just really understanding, you know, prophecies and just having a more deeper understanding of what the scriptures were speaking. And it was while I was in this ministry that I was able to go to Israel. But what's so fascinating to me, and it just proves how much God really does order our steps. This whole time I've been seeking for purpose, trying to understand who I am. And God was literally ordering my steps in a way where he was taking me to one destination to another destination, all to eventually point me in the right direction to discover who I really am. You guys, I have been feeling so emotional for the past few weeks, ever since I received my results back from the DNA test that was done. Because in so many ways, God was speaking to me for years about my identity. You know, I didn't really know a lot of people on my mom's side of the family. You know, I did know a lot of people on my dad's side, but I really didn't sit down and have an opportunity to talk to them about, like, where do we come from, you know, our ancestors. So it was still a lot that I couldn't identify with. I didn't know who I was. All I knew was, this is my mother, this is my father, and this is where I was born. This is where I lived for 9 years of my life. This is where I continued to grow and become an adult in this particular, you know, state. And That was it. And over the years, God started pouring dreams on me. I started seeing myself in Africa. I would see myself in villages, even carrying the basket on my head, walking through the village. I would see little children and teenage girls and even young women calling my name, Queen Veronica, Queen Veronica. You know, I could see myself in a room, and all of these young girls and young women were just sitting on this floor, and they was just listening to me speak. It was like they were so in tune, like so focused on every word that I spoke. I've had dreams of seeing myself going to Africa, like I knew I was about to go to Africa. So I had all these questions like, why am I having these dreams of Africa? In school, we were only told certain things about our history. And a few years ago, I want to share this with you guys. Now, this is where I keep a lot of my dreams. I print them out and I embed them in this journal, this notebook. And it's kind of hard to hold up, but as you can see, there's just a lot of pages of just dreams that I've recorded over the years. I actually had a notebook about as bigger than this that I ended up losing when I had the house fire in 2012. It broke my heart that I lost all those dreams, because gosh was showing so much. He was showing so much to me during that time. And about 3 years ago, I lost another journal of dreams. I had it in my phone. I was trying to transfer it to another phone, and some kind of way it just vanished out of thin air. I could not retrieve it. I literally cried. So I want to share this dream that I had on March 9th of 2018. And in the dream, I was approached by a woman, and she was going through my records. It was like I was kind of sitting in this room, and it seemed like she was about to show me like a documentary of my life. It was very fascinating. But as she was going through my records, she then said to me, "You are a special kind of woman." And she said, "You come from the tribe of Yoruba, and we make good wives." She said, "My mother was a lawyer and a doctor. And she said, everything I do will be done great because of my intelligence." Now, there was more that was said. And towards the end, when I tried to find her to, thank her for everything that she shared with me, she told me, she said, that never happened before, and that it was like she was talking to God when she was talking to me. So here it is, this woman is revealing a part of my life, a part of my history. And she in turn tells me she never had that happen before, that it was like she was talking to God when she was talking to me. Why am I sharing this? Over the years, God has been showing me bits and pieces of who I am that I did not fully understand. This is what he was doing the whole time. I thought these were just very random, bizarre, just type of dreams. And I'm having these dreams of me being in Africa. Here it is, this woman is telling me that I'm from the Yoruba tribe, and I had never heard of Yoruba. I never really studied Africa. So this is why I'm mentioning this dream. My DNA results, one of them came back saying that I am from Nigeria. I have 49.5% Nigerian blood. And when I clicked on it because it expounds and it lets you know about this ethnicity, it said Nigeria has the largest population in Africa and its people belong to over 250 sub-ethnic groups, the largest of which are the Asan and the Yoruba. When I saw that, I literally I couldn't believe it. Not only was God showing me Africa, he kept showing me in Africa. When it comes to Africa, I'm Nigerian, Sierra Leonean, Kenyan, Somali, North African, and Central African. All of that makes up the African blood that's running through my veins. And Nigerian was the highest percentage. And this is where the Yoruba tribe comes from. And here it is, God was showing me back in 2018 that I am from the Yoruba tribe. One of the first end-time prophetic dreams the Lord ever gave me, I was referred to by a Spanish name. So in this particular dream, we were instructed to get into a single file line, and the person who would tell you where you would go, you're either going to heaven, you're either going to hell. Like, it was understood because there were two like walkways. It looked like a tunnel, and he will point you in one direction to the left, and he will point you in the other direction to the right. And when I walked up to him, he called me by my maiden name, but he said Veronica. That was the accent that he used, Veronica. So I always was curious about that. Why would he refer to me in a Spanish name? So on June 30th of 2016, I dreamt that I was standing amongst these people, and this guy was asking us all questions, and I remember speaking my name. I spoke my name with a Spanish accent, and I said that my name means one that is drawn out. This is what I said. I said my name, Veronica. That's exactly how I pronounced it, Veronica. And I said my name means one who is drawn out. I had other dreams that my name was being spoken with a Spanish accent. I had dreams of me taking a vacation with my husband going to South America. And I'm like, why would I be seeing me and my husband going to South America? Like, that's not something we've ever talked about. So when I looked at my DNA results, I am actually Mesoamerican, which falls into the Mexico type of region. It's Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile. So when I was seeing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is why I've been hearing my name spoken with a Spanish accent in these dreams. This is why I saw that me and my husband were about to go to South America. This is why I'm saying my name with a Spanish accent. It's because this is in my blood. So, moving forward, I am also Europe. I am 18.7% English, which consists of the United Kingdom, the Isle of Man, Wales, England, and London. Very fascinating. But, and I'm also South Asian. Now, here's a true story. While I was headed to Israel, there was a cute little boy. He had to have been maybe 9 or 10 years old. And the whole flight, he sat next to me. He would talk to me. There would be times he would fall asleep and he'll just lay his head on my shoulder. Very cute, precious boy. And he told me during that flight, he said, "You remind me of my aunt." And you know, I'm sitting here thinking, me, a black girl, reminds you, look like your aunt? Because he said, "You look like my aunt." That's what he said. And I asked him, I said, "Well, where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Pakistan." And I always remembered that because I'm like, you know, over the years, I would always have people tell me, "You look like so-and-so. You look like somebody," you know. And I'm like, how in the world do I look like everybody that, you know, everybody know? But here it is, this young boy on my way to Israel. He's telling me I look just like his aunt, and he's from Pakistan. Y'all, when I get my DNA result, it says that I am South Asian. And the area that it consists of, where my blood is from, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, some parts of Bangladesh. But I was like, you have got to be kidding me, Pakistan? So this is why this little boy felt like, oh, you know, she looks like my aunt. Because that is where part of my blood comes from, that region. Now, last but not least, this one really just blew me away. And this would explain why I brought up all this other stuff that I went through in my past. You guys, when I experienced that house fire in 2012, what happened prior to that was around 2009, 2010. And I can't remember the exact date because I wrote all this stuff down. Like every word, every dream, every vision that God ever spoke to me, I wrote it in that notebook. That notebook was everything to me, which is why it hurt me so deeply that that notebook, that journal was destroyed in that fire. But prior to that fire, around 2009, 2010, I was asleep. I was awakened out of my sleep. And the Lord literally rose me up out the bed. I was laying on my back and I literally just sat up in the bed like on command. And I was still kind of asleep. But there was a part of me that was still conscious. And I heard as plain as day his voice speaking in my right ear. And he said, "You are my prophet." And when I heard those words, I laid right back down and I went back to sleep. After I heard that, I went through different places where that word was confirmed by people I didn't even know. I literally traveled to Florida to a prophetic conference, and this guy just walked up to me and he said, "You're a seer." I didn't even know what a seer was, never heard of a seer. After he spoke those words at the conference, they will always have like different books that you can purchase. So I'm looking on these tables and I'm seeing all these books, and this one book just jumps out at me, and it was called The Seer. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I went ahead and grabbed it. I'm like, I gotta figure out what this is, because right before I even went to the conference, I had a dream where I saw the woman who was a prophetess that of the church that I was going to at the time. And in the dream, she was looking at me. And the more she looked at me, the more it was like as I was gazing into her eyes, she would draw closer to me to the point where she was right here in my face. And the only word she spoke was, "You see with your eyes." So here it is. I'm having this intense dream where a prophetess is telling me I see with my eyes. I end up going to Florida. A random guy that I've never seen in my life says, "You're a seer." I then see the book, The Seer. So God just started confirming like so many things to me. Even when I would go to different places or when I would speak to certain people, it was like those words kept coming back. Prophet. So I honestly believe, and the Lord was speaking to me about this, that house fire happened because the enemy was trying to take me out. He was trying to take me out. Because for God to call me his prophet and me to experience a house fire where me and my children could have died. Our smoke alarm didn't go off. The only thing that woke me up, was I could hear somebody taking the time to scream from the top of their lungs. They walked to the back of the condos that we stayed in. They were screaming, "Fire, fire, fire." That's what woke me up. But our smoke detectors did not go off. And if it wasn't for that man screaming fire, me and my children probably wouldn't even be here today. The last part of what showed up in my DNA results was that I'm Middle Eastern. And the region that it covers is Syria, Lebanon, Cyprus, Israel, Egypt, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Yemen. I was blown away by all of the other results that came back. Africa, I kind of felt, of course, there would be traces of Africa in my blood. I even felt Europe would be in my blood as well. But Middle Eastern, covering the Abrahamic region, Israel, when I saw that, so much it just clicked. Like, there's always been something within me that felt like this was more than just a choice that I made to serve God. It felt like it was who I was. It was my destiny to serve God. Even when I went to Israel, I can't explain what I felt, but it felt like I was coming home for the first time. It was such a part of me. And I couldn't understand why I was feeling what I was feeling. Even when I was baptized in the Sea of Galilee, something happened in that moment. I've been baptized so many times prior to that, but this time was so different. It's like my spirit understood that I was home. And I was finally making that connection. It's like when I went down in that water, there was such a quiet. It was like I was completely just isolated from everything and everyone, and it was just quiet. And it felt like something in that moment changed in me. It changed me. It's something to be face to face with a reality that has been hidden from you. Because understand, Satan did not want me to know this. And there were years of me saying I would never do this. I always said I would never do it. And here it is, God was pressing on me. I've been speaking about spiritual identity, not knowing that God was going to give me identity that I've been seeking for, that I've been asking, searching for. I had no idea that I would discover this. I had no idea. And just looking back over my life, it makes so much sense why I went through all of the hell that I went through. Even to me being introduced to the counterfeit, because Satan did not want me to fully operate in the position that God chose for me to operate in. He would teach us Hebrew. He would teach us Jewish customs. We celebrated the feast days. This is why I celebrate Hanukkah. And being on the praise and worship team, we also would sing Israel's anthem song, the Haktiva. Like, this is so wild to me that I'm sitting here thinking all this time that I'm just learning, you know, different stuff. Okay, that's cool. But not knowing that there was a reason behind why God was having me learn these things. It's because it was who I was. It was a part of who I am. I haven't sung this song in a long time, y'all. But I started just, I'm telling you, it's like my mind was just going 100 miles per hour when I saw the region that my bloodline comes from in the Middle East. And this song just jumped out like, oh my gosh, Veronica, you were singing the Haktikva, the anthem song, Israel's anthem song. Like, how many people do you know sings this song? Like, this stuff is not just by accident, is what I'm trying to say. I want to sing this song. It's been a very long time since I've sung. It's been years, but Kolo baleva panima nefesh Yehudi homia ulafate mizrak kadima hayen lezian Sophia Holo after tikvatenu Haktiva Vashna Apai Liotam Hoshi Beasenu Heresian Verushalai. Oh wow. That was the Haktifa. That's what we would sing. Wow. The translation of that is saying, as long as within our hearts the Jewish soul sings, as long as forward to the east, to Zion looks the eye, our hope is not yet lost. It is 2,000 years old to be a free people in our land, the land of Zion and Jerusalem. That's what the song says. That's the English translation. I'm so honored to find this out. I could have gone my whole life never knowing. And I'm just honored that the Lord allowed me to find this out, because when I tell you having this information has truly changed me, it has really changed me. I can't really explain it, but I feel like I finally understand who I am, you know? And I'm so blown away just how God, like I said, has ordered my steps all this time. He has been ordering my steps. He's so amazing, y'all. He is so amazing. I really feel that I have really been on a journey. Like, this has truly been a journey of self-discovery, a journey of just not just understanding who I am from a natural standpoint, but also from a spiritual standpoint. I am so ecstatic to be able to say and to know that I am in the family. I am in the family, literally and spiritually. That's an honor. That is an honor. I just want to be clear because I already feel like somebody's about to come out and say this. I do not consider myself a Black Hebrew Israelite. Like, we're not going to define me as that. No, that is not who I am. To see that I ended up right here at this very point in my life proves that there is a God, that he does speak. He knew I didn't know who I was. He knew I didn't know my history. He was just bringing Israel into my life in such a huge way that I didn't fully see it. I didn't know. But now I see. Now I understand. All this time, he was revealing my heritage to me. And it took this DNA to confirm what he was showing me all along. It makes so much sense now. In that dream where I was calling his name, I kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And he wouldn't turn around. But when I said, Yeshua, Yeshua, that's when he turned. It's not to say that he doesn't respond to Jesus, but he was telling me something. That was a clue right there. He was letting me know your blood knows me by Yeshua. Your blood knows me by Yeshua.